Trisha Gonzales, and today we are going to discuss an important topic. What will you do, or what precautionary measures should you do before, during, and after an earthquake? But before we start with that, let us define earthquake first.
An earthquake is the shaking and trembling of the Earth's surface caused by a sudden release of energy. In simple words, it is a sudden shaking of the ground. It occurs when rocks along a certain fault has suddenly moved. And here in the Philippines, we could say that we are prone to earthquakes. Why? It's because the location of the Philippines is on the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, which is an area with lots of seismic and volcanic activities.
We should be mindful and aware of the effects of this natural disaster because it can be very dangerous. It can make buildings fall down, set off landslides, tsunamis, fires, and worst, it can kill a person. So, what should we do?
Before an earthquake, you should prepare. No one knows when an earthquake strikes, so be sure to be prepared. Have a first aid kit and make sure you know how to apply first aids. You should also have a battery-powered radio, flashlights or emergency lights, and extra batteries. It is also essential to prepare supplies of food, water, and medicines. You should know how to turn off gas, electricity, and water to prevent explosions or fire. You should also have a fire extinguisher in case of emergency. Heavy objects must not be placed above head level because they might fall during an earthquake. Also, plan where to meet with your family and learn the earthquake plan at your school or workplace.
Remember, pre-planning and fast actions can save both lives and properties. How about during an earthquake? The first thing you need to do and remember is to stay calm. If you're indoors, stay indoors. If you're outside, stay outside. If you're outside, stay in the open away from power lines or anything that might fall. Stay away from buildings or the buildings that might collapse. If you're indoors, observe the drop, cover, hold protocol. Drop where you are on your knees and hands. This protection protects you from being knocked down and allows you to stay low and crawl to shelter if nearby. Next, cover your head and neck with one arm and head. If a sturdy desk or table is nearby, crawl underneath it for shelter. If none, crawl next to an interior wall away from the windows. Lastly, hold on until shaking stops. Hold onto your shelter with one hand and be ready to move with it if it shifts. When there's no shelter, hold onto your head and neck with both arms and hands.
If you are in a high-rise building, don't use elevators because they'll probably get stuck. And never use matches, candles, or any flame.
When the shaking stops, check yourself and others for injuries. Provide first aid for anyone who needs it. Check water, gas, and electric lines for damage. If any are damaged, shut off the valves and check for the smell of gas. If you smell it, immediately open windows and doors, leave, and report to the authorities. Listen to the radio or television for information.
Stay out of damaged areas, buildings, and beaches. Wear protective clothing and sturdy shoes. If you're at school or work, follow the emergency plan or instruction of the person in charge. And expect and be prepared for aftershocks.
That's it for the things you should know and do before, during, and after an earthquake. Remember, safety does not come with lucky. It has to be prepared. And like what they always say, ligtas ang may alam. Thank you